Today on NerdOut, Jamison Daniel music. Welcome back to NerdOut, the show where we take a look at Cardano and we break it down and don't dumb it down. Today I have a guest interviewer, Jamison Daniel from Jamison Daniel Music, and he's going to be asking me some questions today. So go ahead, take it away.
Andrew, what's going on? Thanks for having me. Good to be
Absolutely.
here. Nerd out. I'm so excited to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Just for our viewers watching this show, I approached Andrew initially and threw the wrench in his nerd out plans and said, hey, give me a chance to interview you. Let me ask some questions from the creator and the artist kind of side of things, getting into the mind of a developer. So that's where the idea for this episode came from. And without further ado, let's get started.
Yeah,
so Andrew,
it.
first question. What were some of your interests growing up? Let's just say junior high school. And how did you initially get put on the path of being a developer? Were there any early instrumental events that took place to help you start on that path?
Yeah, so I was actually into a lot of sports as a kid. So nothing related to computers. I was into swimming and track and field and stuff like that. But my interest in computers started when my dad brought home our first PC into the house. It was like a 286, screaming fast at 12 megahertz. You know, you can buy a calculator that's faster than that today. But yeah, that kind of got me on the path of learning about computers. You know, you had to do a lot of programming yourself on those old computers. So I was writing, you know, little screensavers in BASIC and stuff like that. And so that was kind of how I got on the path of becoming a software developer, I guess.
Nice. Just because I'm curious, what sports did you participate in?
Swimming, track and field were my main ones. I actually went all the way through college in track. I was a pole vaulter back at Western Illinois University.
Awesome.
Swimming I did up through high school, and then grade school, of course, you know, I did a ton of soccer, baseball, basketball, no football. Mom didn't like that one too much. My little brother got to play, but I wasn't allowed to do football. Yeah, so pretty much I was into all kinds of sports.
Nice. Very cool. Okay, number 2 question. Why Cardano of all blockchains?
Yeah, so I saw in 2017, I saw Bitcoin just take off, and then I saw it crash all the way down. And I realized, okay, it's not the first time it's done this cycle. And so I was like, what is the next Bitcoin? You know, what is the next one that's maybe the next generation of technology beyond Bitcoin or even beyond Ethereum? And so I started doing my own research, and you know, I looked heavily into Cardano, and it resonated with me as a developer because it was kind of like they were doing it slowly and methodically and taking the scientific approach to it. And as a developer in, you know, various startups or companies, they're always getting you to just throw some code together, throw it out the door, even if it's garbage. And I'm like, you can't develop a blockchain like that. And so I really resonated with the slow and methodical approach that Cardano brought to the table there.
Right on. So I can tell by that comment that your attention to detail is up there. You know, it's really important, I'm sure, for safety reasons, right, on the blockchain.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't have those complete levels or that code dialed in, then you're opened up to vulnerabilities for hackers and what have you. So
right
on. So you would say you would say the Cardano blockchain has way more functionality long term than the ETH blockchain does.
I don't know about that, but I do know that I like the foundations of Cardano better. I honestly hope a lot of different blockchains succeed. I hope ETH succeeds with ETH 2.0. I think that'd be great for the whole space and the ecosystem and all the money locked up in Ethereum right now. But yeah, I hope long term, I think Cardano is poised to be one of the better blockchains just because of the solid foundation it's building upon.
Yeah, it really does look like that at the moment. There's just so much good going on. A lot of smart people in this space. Um, Next question: what would be the easiest way to describe full stack development for those who don't know what it is and kind of what it consists of?
Yeah, so full stack development's kind of a loaded term. Usually it involves somebody that does kind of the back end code and then front end website code. Usually it doesn't involve like mobile development, but I guess sometimes it can if you're using like a mobile framework. Yeah, I don't typically consider myself a full stack developer, although I do a little bit of that. I'm kind of an anything developer, I guess, whether it's
A
mobile,
wizard.
embedded, back end, front end, or DevOps, or I'll kind of try anything, and that's kind of why I took the job as CTO at Noom, is they needed somebody that kind of had that broad range and could look at the whole project because they're trying to do so many things there.
Nice. So you not only have one core developer skill, you have a multitude of them, which is arguably way more effective, for what you're doing.
Yeah, not always, because you can't ever be an expert in everything all at once. I tend to I'll get into back-end development for a while and I'll feel like I'm an expert there, but then I'll lose some of my mobile development skills, and then I'll go and do a mobile project for a while and I'll ramp up on those skills and I'll kind of lose the others. But yeah, I just always, I'm continually switching between different skill sets. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I personally have a really hard time switching gears. So when I get all in on something, I forget. It's to sacrifice everything else. So I really got to be careful about how that balance
Yeah.
is sitting, right?
So yeah, before you go to your next question, let me ask you one. Why did you choose the Cardano blockchain to do your for everybody that's watching, we're doing an NFT drop today. Link will be in the description, but tell me why you chose Cardano over other blockchains.
Yeah, so good question. I initially created my first NFT on OpenSea, which is ETH's blockchain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they operate within that blockchain. And just the fact that I had to pay $100 to open an account because of gas fees kind of set me back and made me realize, like, why am I going to try to work and put out and create on this blockchain if it's going to cost me so much to even operate? So that happened. The NFT I created was absolute garbage, and I just thought it would be so easy to make all this money off a simple NFT. But obviously, then I realized you actually have to have a good project. You have to have a good product. You have to have community backing. You got to be involved, top to bottom. So that's all kind of taken place up until now. But two good friends of mine were big into ADA and the Cardano blockchain in 2017. So they were a huge influence for me getting in. And once NFTs got introduced and they started trading, I got interested in that and put some converted. I actually was holding a lot of Ergo. Most of my bag was Ergo at the time, but I wanted to trade NFTs on the Cardano blockchain because it was looking like a lot of fun, and swapped over that coin to ADA and started trading a little bit and had a blast doing that. And I realized I should just convert kind of what I was doing in the traditional music industry with my artistry and put it out as an NFT, my music as an NFT. So
Cool.
To answer your question, it was influenced from a few buddies of mine and the fact that Cardano is way more efficient than most chains. So
Yeah. So, I know you were supposed to interview me, but I'm actually fascinated by some stuff you can tell us. So let me keep asking another question.
Shoot.
What was the creative process like for this Jamison Daniel Studio Life album drop that's going to be happening today? Like, how many hours went into it, and what does your creative process look like?
Yeah, good question. So track time can vary, time investment. So I usually tell people who don't understand the creative process very much, at least for artists, and this is pretty much across the board, consistent with anyone who makes music. So when we sit down and we create an idea, it usually comes together quick. 30 minutes to an hour. You'll have the 8-bar loop. I'll have that core idea that I need to hash out, and that comes quick, 30 minutes to an hour, maybe 2 hours if you're pushing it or kind of slow to get started. But if it takes any longer than that, you probably should just put it away for the day and come back later, because creativity it just happens like that. So I'll get that idea really quickly, and then the remaining rest of the week, let's say we're starting on Monday, like the Tuesday through Saturday, Sunday is hashing out the rest of the track. So structuring it out, arranging it, basically adding all the bells and whistles, mixing it down later in the week, and then mastering it is the last step. And that's just the 5% polish that I do with Sonics. But yeah, it's funny. I'm very much, some people who are creators, like they'll be in the shower and be like, oh, I just had this amazing idea and I had to run into the studio and record it. But honestly, I'd never am walking around and just have great ideas like that. I just sit down and write something, and at this point in time, I have a little of an idea of what I like sound wise. So it just comes together. Studio life is a compilation of a lot of different styles that I have, I'm into and have kind of played around with over the years. So, yeah, each one of those tracks has a different flavor. Some sound similar, others have a different taste as well, musically speaking. So, yeah, man, it's just honestly, it's as I grow as an artist, I'm always consistently trying to hone my sound to be more cohesive, and it's really tough as an artist. I mean, anyone will tell you it takes a long time for you to get that signature sound that people know you by. Like every song you listen to them or listen that they've produced, that it's by them, and that is just I'm still a little bit away from that. And I usually people have to remind me, hey man, you're starting to. You got this cool sound about you, and I'm like, oh, I really don't even notice. I just sit down and write music. So, yeah, it's I wanted Studio Life to be kind of a broad range attack for listeners. So each person would find a song that they like, within the 9 tracks that I put out. So
yeah, so I'm actually a fan of electronic music, and so once you asked me, oh, do you want to do an NFT drop? And I don't do a lot of NFT drops, but I only take on ones that are like kind of unique. And so I was like, this one interests me. And, the advantage of working with you is I got to listen to it ahead of time. And so I was sitting there, coding up everything for the NFT drop that's happening later today. And, just rocking out to all the tunes on the album. And definitely my favorite one so far is Vibrate. That one just right away just gets you going.
Yep. That's a good one, man. That bass line is awesome too.
No, but yeah, I see what you mean, how everybody will find something on the album that they'll like. And so that's really cool that you've done that with this particular album.
Yeah, it's not all the time is generally that going to be the case. This is a compilation of tracks that are, from the past 6 months or so up until now. We'll just round up, and you can see kind of the trajectory and how much different style there is in all those tracks. Generally, if I'm going to put out an EP or an album, it's going to be a little bit more cohesive style wise than what we're going to see with Studio Life. But coming out into the NFT realm, especially on the Cardano blockchain, like I wanted to just appeal to a broad range of listeners who like electronic music. So
yeah, this is your coming out for Cardano, so that'll be awesome.
Very excited.
Yep. So
all right, man.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up. But first, let's give some details about the NFT drop for those listening. Again, the link will be in the description below. Cost is what?
32 ADA.
32 ADA. And the drop is happening at what time?
It's going to be 7 p.m. UTC. That is 11 a.m. Pacific. That is 2 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, awesome. And why don't you give the traditional Nerd Out goodbye?
All right, guys. Thanks for coming and tuning in to Nerd Out. Have a good one.
Okay.